Greetings and welcome to Hot Topics from the Soul. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Parker Hagan, and I have my co hosts along with me.
Well, greetings, Dr. J.R. Thicklin here on this beautiful Wednesday. It is today, and we're just grateful to be here with so many things that is happening around us, and we're ready to dive into it in the midst of so much uncertainty.
Absolutely, Dr. J. This is a normal day. Yesterday, my internet service was completely out, and last week I was in Atlanta celebrating my new granddaughter, and it's just
Yes.
been a busy, busy week for me. And but I'm excited to be back with you. I know the last show I was so upset about so many things going on. I I was like
Yes.
my grandmother said, "You have no coof." I had no etiquette at all. I was so upset.
Yeah,
But God is faithful, even when we don't understand his process.
absolutely. And we face things. Sometimes, things come in all of a sudden, look like back to back, and it can become frustrating, and even we're encouraged by the word that says that when the enemy comes in like a flood, that the Spirit of the Lord lifted up a standard against it. But we understand that when things are coming at us from every side, it can feel overwhelming, it can feel uncertain, and it can cause if you would, emotions to be rattled and things. And so it requires us to be able to stay that course, right? And sometimes staying that course is like riding, or I like to call it like riding on one of those rides at the fair where they got you going around and you have to hold on and you things. And we learn to navigate through these type things, right? Believing that this too shall pass.
Absolutely. We are in the worst season we've seen in a long, long time. We I googled it. It said 806,000 people and counting are out of work this year alone, not considering last year where it rolled over. This year, 806,000 individuals have lost their jobs. That means there's no income coming in. And now we have a government shutdown. So that affects so many things as well, Dr. J. You know, I know the talk is about why don't they just go ahead and, we need our paycheck. But the fight is for better health care. Already we're at a crisis with health care. I don't know about you, but, my husband has gone through so many different transitions this year because he's been ill on numerous occasions. And I'm telling you, the healthcare service sucks. There are individuals in there that are just collecting a job. And then not only that, when you need something, you can't get it because the insurance, the new rule now, usually you have to wait till next year to change and things go into effect. But things have been going into effect in real time because of this current administration. He's cut this, cut that. So healthcare that people need, they're not able to get it. This is Cancer Awareness Month, and there are individuals that are on medication, and the medications already was high because the insurance companies don't want to pay for illnesses such as that. So if you were paying $1,000, then it went up to $1,500 to $2,000 for the medication you need. And then don't talk about mental health. There are no fundings or anything available for mental health unless you have insurance. And then when you have insurance, the out of pocket cost is astronomical at this point because of the government shutdown and prior to that because of the current administration. Don't believe people have mental illness, but the people that are trying to kill them, obviously something's wrong.
Well, unfortunately, we seem to be a country of what we call selective mental illness. We're selective of who we will deem mentally ill versus those that we deem a thug. Mentally ill, same offense, thug, mentally ill, thug. And we kind of go through these, but your point is so well taken. When we look at what's happening, what we've gotten away from is really the heart and soul. We're losing our heart and soul in this country. We're so divisive and so divided and so beholden to labels. beholden to labels, that we have forgotten about things about compassion. We've forgotten about doing to others as we have to do unto you. We've forgotten about it. And literally, we have mocked what we have on our money. In God we trust. It's not
Mm.
in God we trust. It's in riches we have trusted. And so we're dealing with the time now that you ask yourself the question, and I know this question is coming up more and more with Gen Z and some of the younger generation. They're asking themselves the question because they've heard that we're the greatest country in all the world. They've heard that we're the richest country in all the world. Well, they're grappling with the fact, how can that be true when we have the homelessness problem that we have in our country? How can that be true when we're having, you just spoke about 800 some thousand people who have lost their job here alone. How can that be true when every day they're losing it? If you have someone that's in a healthcare system, you know that really, it's really a challenge. Even in our best of times, it's a challenge. And
Mm.
what we're dealing with now is deliberately allowing the subsidies for the ACA or the Obamacare to expire, which automatically will shoot prices up, doubling and tripling and all those things. And many people will lose their insurance. They will lose their access to medical care. So it's a threefold problem because I will say I salute the men and women that are in our healthcare profession, doctors and nurses and therapists and all those people inside of it. But their hands too is somewhat tied and it's impacted because there's the thing that we call the insurance industry. And boy,
Absolutely.
that can be a Jekyll Hyde situation there. If you don't believe it, try dealing with situations where you have a loved one that needs specific type of care and they are limited or they're denied because, well, the insurance don't pay for that. The insurance won't pay for that. You're rejected on every hand. So we have a situation here where as if seemingly we are talking out both sides of our mouth. We're definitely not the most compassionate country in the world because if that was the case, healthcare would be for everyone. We wouldn't be going through this. But the moment we start talking about healthcare being for everyone, then folks want to call you a socialist. When we start saying that everybody, that healthcare is a right, it's not a privilege, it's a right. Everyone should have access to health care because if we live long enough, we're going to need health care. It doesn't necessarily mean that a person have totally neglected themselves or they have abused their body. Just the fact that life is, that we are biological beings, that we are going to need health care. And so people are facing those things. And I will tell you this, we've got to wake up because we're on the cusp of so many things happening at one time. In just a matter of days, November 1st will come, and there will be over 40 million Americans that are affected. Those that receive SNAP or food stamp benefits are going to be affected because it dries up. It dries up. And so now you're talking about people who need it to make it from one end to the other. And supposed to, well, they need to get out and work. That is the most tiredest criticism and tiredest reasoning I've heard.
Yeah,
There
but
is
the
a
thing
large
about that,
working,
Dr. J, is saying people need to get out and work. They were working, and their
exactly.
jobs were taken away by this current administration because they said they didn't need it. But my bigger question is, okay, all these federal and government jobs and all these jobs that are connected, these companies that are connected to the government that are no longer in existence and had to shut down, where is the money going? Is it going to build that 80,000 square foot ballroom that costs $250 million? Is it
Or
going
300
there?
million depends on which day what he
You
says.
know,
We fixed it
so
300 million.
my
Right.
thing is, you can't house Americans and claim that there's no money because of all the immigrants, the illegal aliens that are coming here in this country. But the fact is, America was also built on immigrants. I mean, his wife is an immigrant. She came here. She's not American. So my thing is, people come into this country and they make their investments into this country, and now you're saying the investment isn't good enough, but then we take all these billions of dollars and we provide um, bombs and fighter jets to go over and give it to these countries so they can fight, and we here starving. We can't get any food, we can't get any protection, we can't get any health care, but we're the strongest nation in the world. How could that be when you have 806,000 people out of work, and then you have people that will not be able to feed their families November 1st because you decided you want to go this route?
Well, once again, it's a very confusing statement, right? Because I believe this. If we're really a country that say in God we trust, God, we have to look at the characteristic of God. We have to look at the fact of what the mission was. And we talk about, I come to set the captives free. We talked about, we talked about the fact of loving those, loving our neighbors, and entertaining even the strangers. And that's not what we are. We have begun to demonize anybody that was not born here. We're demonizing people for no other reason. It was sold as if the fact we're going to close those borders. Isn't that amazing? Now we want to close the border. We're going to close the border. Then it was said that, we're going to get rid of all these illegal aliens and illegal. And then we demonize them as if they're criminals, and everyone is criminals, and everyone is that. And that is not, there has not been any proof to provide that any of these people make up the majority of our crime or those issues that has been exploited in order to demonize, in order to accomplish this mission. And we're seeing all over people being harassed in Walmart parking lots, people being harassed at Home Depot, people being harassed simply because they look like they're not from here. And then you go, do you have a warrant for them or not? Are you just going there and you're profiling, saying, well, you're born in this country? And sometimes not saying that they're being wrestled up off the street and thrown inside of cars. And we call that due process. Come on, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, I said on last week, I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican, that wrong is wrong. My mother used to say, right is right if nobody does it. Wrong is wrong if everybody does it. And so it's not a matter of those type of things. What we're seeing here is demonization, criminalization, weaponizing government, all of those things to accomplish what? To accomplish what? Is this compassion? No. Is this about reaching out and being welcoming of people? No. Now we want to tell the real truth. If we want to tell the real truth, we have an ugly history, and we do.
Yes.
And that ugly history goes beyond just slavery. It's been an ugly history from its very inception, from the murder of Native Americans to you name it. It's been an ugly history. It's been one that has profit on the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. It's been established on that type of supremacy. When people hold their nose up in the air because they're better than someone else, or they think they're better than someone else, and then you create policies that are gonna cripple them, and then you go back and roll back every advancement that has been made, to get us finally some type of footing. So you start with voter suppression. You start with all these crazy things that are happening now. Folks, there is something going on, and we better we're going to stay woke, and we got to stay focused. We got to be able to press through the uncertainty of the times that we're living in. All of those things are happening. And hear me when I say this. November 1st is this end of this week. Let's get that
Yes.
straight. November 1st, I believe, is Saturday, if not Friday. November is Saturday.
Saturday. It's Saturday.
So November 1st is Saturday. Understand what's happening. Not only SNAP, but folks that understand what happened with ACA. with ACA. I actually received a email from a dear friend of mine who's actually the chair of the board of trustees of one of our local hospitals today, and they want us to reach out because a significant portion of this ACA is going to change because of what's happening here. And this is what they wanted to ward off, was the fact, don't allow these subsidies to expire. Don't allow them to do so, because people are going to lose health care. It's going to raise up, and folks are going to lose. And folks, they estimated that you may have between 10 million people that will die unnecessary deaths if they don't get this together. So guess what's changing first? For those that enroll in ACA, one of the main changes is that the open enrollment period is narrowed. Now you have from November 1st to November 15th.
Wow.
Could you imagine that? Now, the first come in on a Saturday. Keep in mind, that's the first change. The next change is that one of the major things that's going to happen is the fact, no longer is it going to automatically re-enroll you. You got to re-enroll every year yourself. Many mothers and things and services that help mother and address maternal health and all that, it's going to be slashed. We're looking at all kinds of things that are going to happen that are going to put people in danger inside of it. Something is wrong when
And
we
see, the
become a
thing
make.
is, this
Yes,
goes beyond political
yes,
parties. And, you doing things thinking you just going to hurt the Democrats, but you're going to hurt everybody. Even Republicans
absolutely.
are going to be affected. Just like even with the SNAP program, they thinking they're going to help hurt brown colored people, but no, you're going to hurt more of the white people than you will the brown. And and they will see this at the day of reckoning. They will see what all of that looks like. And I've always said, evil against one is evil against all. It's going to
Exactly.
affect everybody one way or another, because when you shut down on one denomination, another one will rise up, and there will be more burglaries going on. There's going to be more crime, more deaths going to occur unnecessarily, because people are going to take action to try to sustain their household, and the only way they'll know how to do it is to rob, steal, and kill. But
Yeah,
I am reminded about God's word, what he says. He says in Isaiah 41:10, it says, "Fear not, for I am with you. I am your God." And see, the thing is, at the top of the year, I said that this is going to be the greatest season of revival for the
yes,
kingdom of God, because people are actually going to have to rely on God, and for him to be who he is. And he is a mighty, mighty king, and he will come through in the end. And the word also says that God said he will supply our every need. A lot of times we're in debt because of the wants we have,
right,
but he
exactly.
supplies our every need. My husband looked at the account, and he was like, "Babe, did you see how much money came through the account and how much went out?" And you do things not thinking about it because you're at this certain level, so you go ahead. But now you're going to have to pay attention to what's
Absolutely.
going on. And, like, you want a Snicker bar. Do you really need that Snicker bar?
Right.
I want to go out and get a pizza. Do you really need to go out and spend money on that pizza? I got
Oh,
to get
yeah.
some new shoes. Do you really need new shoes? And if you open your closet, you'll see you got a whole bunch of shoes in there. So we're going to have to cut back. And I I have a problem with the government telling you that this is what you need to do when you worked hard just like they did to get where you are, and now they're confining you, controlling you, where you can't live
Yes.
a life. You're becoming like those other countries that have the dictator over them, telling them when they could eat and when they can sleep.
Right, right, and that's what we're slipping into.
And you
It,
you you you're so quick to say, you know, democracy. We're following democracy. And my thing is, you're actually doing the opposite. The Venezuela president, you coming after him saying, oh, because he didn't step down when the new person won. Well, I remember that's what he did too. He tried to
Right.
stay in there and had people rush the Capitol to try to make sure that happens. But yet he want to kill the man for what he tried to do. So I mean, I just don't understand it, and I think we need to wake up as people and see what's going on. But I'm also reminded by the word of God. It said that the enemy will fool the very elect.
Yeah.
The
We're
very
living in
elect
that
will
end
be
times.
fooled by what's going on because you're not looking at it with God lenses. You're looking at it with flesh lens.
It's so important. I really have pondered this and I've prayed about this, and I'm very sad. I'm sad because this president is surrounded supposedly by faith leaders, his faith advisors, surrounded by people. And I don't know if his ears are just closed to them or they're just not speaking the truth to him. I don't know which one. But what I do know is this: the actions are not in alignment with the word. The actions are not in alignment with the word. Listen, what we're dealing with here, when you hear a person talk about, we just kill them, no due process, no sense of come let us reason, none of that. I'm trying to see, and once again, trying to say as neutral as I can. I'm trying to see where the benefits of any of the policies right now are doing for this country. I don't see it. I see a country that is declining rapidly. I'm seeing the fact that we could watch the government shut down and people being furloughed, service members not being paid. And here's the thing about it: there reserved money that you can do so. Do you think this is a really good time to send, 80 billion dollars, $80 million over to Argentina? I don't think so. What are we doing? We talk about all this money that was uncovered through Doge and all the wasteful things. Where is that money? We're talking about all these things
Right.
that are
Where's the
happening.
money that you save that should be covering these people that are out of work until they come to an agreement?
Yeah. All this money that you say we've gotten back from tariffs, where is that money? All of these things that we're saying, and then we have to keep weaving through the lies. The lie that the lie that Japan and Toyota is invested $10 billion was just disputed. Man, come on, it was just disputed. Said no, that's not what happened. So what are we going to believe?
Yeah,
Whenever
and the
truth,
thing is, those individuals that are given money, is it going to the government to keep the U.S. sovereign to be able to do different things? Is it really helping us do that, or is it going into a personal pocket? That's the bigger question. Did a dinner last week, $1 million a
a
plate. Do
plate.
you know that could cover those individuals that are out of work right now? And I have on the screen where you could go online to see where you can get access to food. Feedingamerica.org or foodpantries.org. Those websites have locations nationally that you can plug into no matter what state you are. If you go and put in feedingamerica.org or foodpantries.org, you should be able to find those organizations that have food available, and also 211.org for other needs, and also your local community like City
Right.
Hall. I know here in Fort Lauderdale, if you contact City Hall, they are helping seniors with their utility bills at up to $150. Now you say, well, that ain't nothing if my bill is $300-400, but it's something that will be applied to keep your services on. So take advantage of that is available in the communities that you live. And also churches in your community, they have food banks that you could just drive
Explain that
by,
to us. Yeah.
just open your trunk and they'll put some food in there. You don't have to fill out no papers. You don't have to
Right.
give them your social security. You don't even have to belong to that church. They will
Absolutely.
give you food. If you need it, just drive up, go get it so that you'll be able to sustain yourself at least with the food. Now, there, the Catholic churches used to help with your rent. I don't know if they still do it because a lot of resources have been snatched, but do research just like you Google online and find out everything garbage and stuff like that. Google something that'll be beneficial to your family so that you'll be able to survive for these next few months that are coming up, because we got 3 more years.
Right. And and in addition to that, I want to say to those that may not know it, maybe you've been furloughed or federal workers like that, check with a lot of your financial institution. They are having certain forgiveness, whether it's a Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Navy Credit Union. There's quite a few of them. A list there of where special things are being done. There's extensions and forgiveness of certain payments right now until you get back on your feet. All these things are happening, and still, right, our next door neighbor, Jamaica, has just been slammed, if you would, by Hurricane Melissa. Now, from Jamaica to Cuba, from Cuba to the Bahamas, and all of these disasters and catastrophes are happening in the midst of chaos is happening. If you don't hear the prophetic sound in this, there's something wrong with your ears. We've got to draw nigh back to our source. You just gave it. You just gave the scripture a few minutes ago when you talk about there in Isaiah what the scriptures said to us. But we have
41:10.
also
Fear not, fear not,
fear
fear
not,
not.
for
Yes,
I'm with you. And the thing about it is this: one of the things that make people uncertain is the fact of when we get lies and rumors and those things that come up and people begin to doubt. That is the reason why we have to cling to truth. What is truth? We got to cling to the truth of his word. And see, this is when it doesn't become religious, it becomes relational. Where I trust God in the midst of all things. Why? Because he's been here through it all. He's been here through every great plague. He's been here through every great depression. He's been God through every situation. And the book of Daniel says, for the people that know their God, they shall be strong and do mighty exploits. And that's what I'm
absolutely.
saying. For people that are feeling confused now, that feel perplexed now, that feel that they're underwater now, that feel as if they have no hope now, I'm saying to you, don't get religious. I say get relational. Get
Mm,
relational, because this is when you're going to find out for yourself. The measure of a man is not where he stands in time of comfort, but where he stands in a time of controversy and conflict. We're in that time. The
absolutely.
measurement here, the measurement here is our trust not in a flag, our trust not in a man, but our trust in the word of God. And that's where we're going to have to find ourselves. Listen, out of all the foolishness that's happening, God is on the side of truth. God is on the side of truth, and he's a God that's going to redeem those. He's on the side of the oppressed, not the oppressor. Please understand. He sees injustice. He knows it. And I don't care how they dress it up. I don't care if they dress it up with fancy words, with titles and position. They dress it up with their own imagination. At the end of the day, we can stand assured because of the fact for the God that we serve. And I'm just being very honest with you. In this day and time, everything will fail around us. But the only true anchor is really anchoring in what we know inside of God. Sometimes I have to turn off the news. Why? Because it bombards your mind. It dominates your thought. But when you learn to cast down every thought, every vain imagination that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, listen, only but a little bit should the wicked seem like they prevail. But fret not yourself because of evildoers, neither ye be envious of the workers of iniquity, for they, underlying this, shall soon
Soon
be
be
cut
cut
down.
off.
That's what I
And
believe.
that's what we have to keep the hope, because it is true that adversity really introduces us to ourselves. We don't
Absolutely.
know what we're made of until we have to fight. So, we're going to
Absolutely.
have to fight through this and go back to basics. We're going to have to do like our ancestors did. They didn't have these computers, they didn't have all these things that we're online and this coding and all this here. They live simple, basic, loud lives. They grew their gardens in their backyard. Now in South Florida, you can basically have fruit and vegetables year round because it's sunny all the time. Won't be able to do it there in the winter time, but they knew the winter was coming. In the summertime, they would harvest their fruits and vegetables and put them in mason jars, and when they were ready to eat, they do need soup, fresh soup right there. They learned how to bake their own bread. And right
Absolutely.
now, all we do is Uber Eats. We don't
Exactly.
know. And and something, Dr. J, I went to Wendy's last night and I gave some change. I gave the exact change and some dollar bills to the cashier. She was standing up there trying to figure out what coin was what. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
She did
Wow.
not know change. She didn't know what it was. It was 41 cents. You can't count 41 cents.
Wow. You know, there's a whole generation that has been inundated with nothing but plastic. Swipe, plastic,
Swipe,
plastic.
PayPal, Cash
Yeah,
App, don't know
yeah.
anything about money. They don't even know how to write a letter. They don't know how to do a return address. They don't know how to go and buy a stamp or where the stamp goes on the letter. We've got to go back to basics so that we'll be able to survive what's to come.
You know, Dr. Val, one of the things that you said is so important. I believe in the challenging times, it should bring out compassion in us, not bitter and anger. What do you mean by that? So often when people are pressured, it simply bring out the worst in them. But that's why it's so important to be, if you would, engrafted in that vine and wrapped up there. Because see what happens, and we generally see it. We in South Florida, we've experienced it. When we have been hit by hurricanes, it's amazing how neighborly your neighbor becomes.
Hmm.
It's amazing how we learn to share things, right? Someone putting something on the grill because you have no power, but hey, have some. We share. And I believe that certain things are happening because it's going to turn our hearts back, turn our hearts to what is important. At the end of the day, it don't matter whether you got on Gucci or Louis or whatever.
Hot topics from the soul, reaching all minds, turning knowledge into gold. Yeah,
We press
hot
through our
topics from the
uncertainty
soul. Yeah,
and
hot
trust and
topics from the
keep our
soul.
focus,
Yeah,
we will
hot
come out
topics
as
from the
pure
soul,
gold.
reaching
And I
all
want to
minds,
encourage
turning
those
knowledge
people
into
to
gold.
know so.
Yeah, hot
Jamaica, we
topics from the
stand with you.
soul.
Cuba, Bahamas,
Hot
we
topics
stand
from the
with you.
soul.
We stand strong. America,
Yeah,
let's return back to
yeah,
God.
hot topics from the soul.
Absolutely.
Reaching
And we
all minds,
can
turning
indeed
knowledge
make
into
America
gold.
great again.
Hot
And we
topics
can
from the
do it without
soul.
being fake.
Hot
And
topics from the
we
soul.
want to
Yeah.
encourage
Hot
individuals,
topics from
as
the
I
soul.
said,
Reaching all
to
minds,
go
turning
on the
knowledge into
website
gold.
and look for
Yeah.
those
Hot topics from
places
the
that can
soul.
supply
Hot
you with
topics from the
food.
soul.
And also the number 211, you can do it on your cell
Yeah.
phone.
Hot topics from the soul.
As I said, the
Reaching all
person didn't
minds,
know
turning
how to
knowledge
count
into gold.
change. If you do
Yeah.
the
Hot
211, they'll
topics
be
from the
waiting for the rest
soul.
of the number. So
Hot
that'll be a
topics from the
problem.
soul. Yeah.
I've
Hot
never
topics
seen
from the
anything
soul.
like it. I was
Reaching
just
all minds, turning
so
knowledge into gold.
surprised at that.
Yeah.
But
Hot topics from the
we've got to get back
soul.
to the basics
Hot
so that
topics
we
from the
can
soul.
survive this. And don't forget to subscribe to
Yeah.
Hot Topics
Yeah.
from the
Hot topics
Soul.
from the soul. Reaching all minds, turning knowledge into gold. Yeah. Hot topics from the soul. Yeah. Hot topics from the soul.